the general premise of my work and the evidence that we show from history and from the current period is that strong institutions are the best guarantor of rapid economic growth, especially when you're looking at things like innovation, technology, communication, electronics, things that require long-term investment. That was US's special sauce. And right now it's being destroyed. It's not just the Fed. Several other key agencies, Department of Justice, FBI, Office of Management and Budget, are being transformed into non-independent entities with the appointment of loyalists. And that is a threat to U.S. institutions. I think investors are reacting to it sporadically because some of the implications are going to be in the future. But now that Trump is coming for Jerome Powell and the Fed, the implications are more immediate, and you see the stock market's reaction. But it would be a mistake to see this just the usual spat between a Fed chairman and the president. This is part of a broader issue.
It's much more. And again, correct me if I'm wrong, what you're describing is based on your work, the transition, a jarring, jolting transition by the U.S. now under Trump from being an inclusive state to being an extractive state. Let me ask you, though, on the Fed itself, again, right, even if Trump is not able to actually fire Powell, right, if he simply just changes the perception that the Fed's independence can no longer be taken for granted, wouldn't that do damage enough?
Absolutely, 100%. And also he's signaling that when Powell's term ends, he's most likely going to appoint a loyalist. The problem with the FBI and OMB is the appointment of people who are loyalists, who are not experts, who are not established figures, and who don't have a track record of independent action, which is what these agencies are supposed to do. The Fed is not supposed to be doing the political bidding of the president. It has a mandate. That's what's being violated.
You know, Daron, doesn't President Trump have a point here? At the risk of sounding pretty crude here, when people are looking for recession playbook at the moment, regardless of what the vision is behind all these tariffs of the Trump administration, if the tariffs are going to induce some kind of slowdown or potentially a recession, then perhaps Jay Powell could be labeled as Mr. Too Late.
Well, I think tariffs are a self-made error. I'm not making a blanket statement that tariffs are always bad. If Trump wanted to put up tariffs to protect some industries, he could have done that in a predictable way, for example, signaling that tariffs would go up by 10% every year and clarifying what path they would take. He has chosen to maximize uncertainty. Why has he done that? I think the most important reason is, again, the same agenda. He's trying to centralize power in his hands. If he arbitrarily can set 100% tariffs and then say, I can renegotiate them down to zero, that's pure power play. That's what he wants. That's what he's trying to do, and that's what the markets are reacting to. Now, if he complements that with another mistake, destroying the independence of the Fed, I think it's going to make things much worse, not better.